All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the CV Update. As usual, we had another week packed with sports events, including the Bruins beginning their playoff run tonight against the Washington Capitals, the Patriots, and the release of the 2021 NFL schedule, the Red Sox continuing their strong play in the Celtics situation. And we'll get to that. We'll just leave it at that. But we will cover all of that today. And joining me, as usual, is my co-host for this week again, Ujan Talukdar. Ujan, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back again.
Yeah, 3 weeks in a row, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's good to be back, like I said.
Yes, absolutely agree. And additionally, joining us this week is my good friend, Joe Saulsbery. Joe has contributed to some of my blog posts in the past, and he is a big Packers fan and a Celtics fan. And Joe, what are your baseball teams and hockey teams again? I don't remember, but welcome, Joe.
Hi, Amartya. Thank you for bringing me on the show. My baseball teams are the Cleveland Indians and Oakland A's. And as far as hockey, I prefer the Islanders.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's cool. Well, they're a good team too. But anyways, let's start with the Bruins right now. And they obviously begin the series against the Washington Capitals. And this is probably like the series that kind of has like the most intrigue, right? Because you have Tom Wilson and everything he did to Brandon Carlo. He's just like such a dirty player in general. But this is two teams that don't like each other. Like they generally don't like each other. So that's probably what makes the series so intriguing, right, Ujan?
Yeah, most definitely. It's a shame that it had to happen in the first round. But although it just feels like even if it were in the first round, it was going to happen in the second round or maybe even later. Obviously not the Stanley Cup final, but like you said, it's going to be both teams just hate each other. They don't want to do anything with each other. The regular season games have been quite interesting to say the least when it comes to Bruins and Capitals. And now we just can't wait for. I personally can't wait for the series to start off tonight.
Joe, what do you think? Like, who do you think has the edge in the series?
I think it's very close. Both these teams have succeeded in the playoffs in recent history in terms of getting to the Cup final. I think both these teams have pretty much their central nucleus of players and goaltending still in place. I like the Bruins though because of Tuukka Rask. I think he's playing well lately.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to come down to Rask, or if Rask struggles, is this his opportunity now to really shine and take over like from Rask? Like obviously we've heard like rumors that Tuca could be nearing the end of his career, potentially retiring after the season. So is this like Swayman's chance to really shine and step up? Like obviously Rask is going to be your goaltender to start game one, and hopefully he does. He's your goaltender for this whole series. But Ujan, can you see a situation where Swayman comes in and takes the job away from Rask?
I could, but it seems to be a little too early for Swayman. After all, it's his rookie year. I would really feel bad to see Swayman just come in and try to relieve Rask after a horrible start. Say they're down 0-2 going into game 3, and then you throw Swayman in there. If that happens, it kind of seems as though Bruce Cassidy would be making a little bit of a panic move that like, oh yeah, we need to make some change and hopefully this works kind of thing. I just don't really see that happening. Rask has the playoff experience. Yes, he hasn't won a Stanley Cup, but he's been to 2 Stanley Cup final runs. So I think you have to have Rask in this situation.
And like for Washington now, it's a little different, right? Because it used to be Braden Holtby, but he's no longer the goalie. Like who's the goalie now for Washington again? It's what's his name?
Oh, why me? I'm not. I think it's I couldn't tell. I mean, there've been so many games where they've just been switching up their goalie. We'll just have to see when the puck drops tonight, but we'll have to just look into that.
Wow, yeah, they have actually. I think there's a reason we don't know who the goalie is. They actually haven't announced it yet. I mean, there's Henrik Lundqvist. I mean, former Ranger. There's a Vitek Vanacek. I think maybe he's the starter because Lundqvist is kind of on the decline. Joe, like, who do you think will be the goalie for the Capitals tonight among like their possible choices?
I I think it would probably, between those two, have to go to Lundqvist with his playoff experience. He has a Stanley Cup run, not victory,
Yeah,
but run.
2014, right, against with the Rangers against the LA Kings.
LA Kings. And he's had several other deep playoff runs. I think you have to turn to the veterans here, and that will ultimately allow them to have some consistency in the net.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I mean, let's do and also like one other thing I just want to do before we go into the predictions for the series, and I'm gonna have to hopefully all of us can give our unbiased predictions. But I mean, I know who we all. I mean, at least Ujan and I probably will want the Bruins to win. Joe, I don't know. Are you cheering for the Bruins or are you cheering for the Capitals this series?
In this case, I will be cheering for the Bruins. Definitely, definitely have. If they're not my favorite team, I generally do prefer New England teams over most other teams, and this is the case here.
All right, I gotta interject on that. It's Super Bowl 52. You were cheering for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? I'm just messing with you there.
In most cases, Amartya, most cases.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I
That's
cheered
all
for the
good.
Patriots on the first several Super Bowls.
Yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you there. Okay. I'm just messing with you. It's all good. No, it's just okay. So yeah, I just wanted to bring up Ujan. Like Taylor Hall, he has been awesome since the Bruins gone from the Sabres. It's almost like you leave that horrible situation in Buffalo, like the worst team. You get put on a team that actually needs you to actually play well to win. And it seems like they've just unlocked him. And do you think this is like someone now? Like, would you re-sign him in the offseason? Because he is a free agent. Like, do you actually like buy that this is like the real Taylor Hall from this point onward, that you've unlocked him? Or do you think that this is just sort of a flash in the pan, and like next season, if you give him like a good contract, a nice contract, he'll go back to being kind of the underachiever that sort of like he has that reputation of being, right?
I think we need to. I think the Bruins need to re-sign him. It's that simple. The chemistry he has with David Krejci on that line. Oh my goodness, that I think that's just changed the way Bruce Cassidy has wanted.
Yeah, exactly. No, I like that a lot. Like definitely, I've seen that a lot. Him and Krejci have terrific. I mean, you've seen that Krejci kind of was like struggling a bit, right? And now Krejci seems like a different player too, right? So
yeah, and plus not just them two, but Craig Smith has also been scoring too. He got his hat trick earlier this season, and that was after the Taylor Hall trade. I just wanted to point out that the Taylor Hall goal against the Islanders in overtime on earlier this week. Oh my goodness, I was watching that on repeat so many times. It was so good. Oh man.
Joe, that must have been a little tough for you, right? Seeing that Taylor Hall goal against the Islanders.
Yeah, they just it for the Islanders. They have had a lot of issues in the late stretches of games, and I think that ultimately will hold them back a bit in these playoffs.
Yeah, we shall see. But I guess now let's give our unbiased picks on who we think will win the series. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'll go with the safe pick, Bruins in 7. I think this is going to be like a back and forth series between two very good teams. It's going to be very chippy. Like there's going to be a lot of fights, a lot of like that going on. I think the Bruins. Oh, I got to go with it will be like Game 7, and at that point, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bruins in 7 and Game 7 goes to OT. Taylor Hall scores the game winner. How about that? Ujan, what's your pick?
I'm gonna go Bruins in 7. Remember one thing. The Bruins went to Washington twice earlier this season. I think it was before the trade deadline. They were down 3 goals in each game. And I know one game they won 5-3. I don't remember the other one.
I think they lost the other one, but it was in overtime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, that was it. They lost 4-3 in overtime. So they show that they can compete with Washington before the trade deadline. Now I think the Bruins are even better. So maybe I think they're gonna win in 7. It seems as though we might steal one either tonight or Game 2, and then Washington split, and then there's another split in Boston, Games 3 and 4. It's gonna be alternate 5, 6, and 7. Bruins winning Games 5, and then ultimately Game 7. So I think that's what I see happening.
All right. Yeah. No. So Bruins in 7. Joe, what's your pick?
I like the Bruins in 6. I think Game 6 is where they win it. because they would be playing Game 6 at the Garden. I think they could steal one in Washington. And I definitely think that they have a clear goaltending advantage, which makes all the difference in the postseason. I do think that Washington is tough with their front line, Ovechkin, of course, Oshie, but Boston has so many weapons on their first couple of lines that I think they will be able to overcome everything that Washington throws at them offensively.
Okay, so I have Bruins in 7. Ujan also has Bruins in 7. Joe has Bruins in 6. So all of us expect the Bruins to win the series. All right. Anyways, let's move on to the Red Sox now. Just a quick segment. Obviously, they've been continuing to play well, kind of defy expectations. The Yankees are kind of slowly starting to creep up on them in second place. But as of now, I've been happy with the way the Red Sox have played. Like yesterday, a nice win against the Angels. Like you give up the lead, it's 2-1. You give up 2 runs in the 7th inning. It was 3-2. Bobby Dahlbeck, he's kind of been struggling this season a little bit. Like he isn't really hitting for the average. He had a big 2-run home run, and the Red Sox win that game 4-3. And also, I like that win against the Athletics on Thursday. Like the Athletics are a very good team. They win the first 2 at Fenway, and then you beat them 8-1. Garrett Richards, he has been very good since that like slow start. And Chaim Bloom, the GM, I got to give him credit now. Like, I mean, he seems like a lot, except for Franchi Cordero. I think that guy is horrible and should not be on the roster. But besides that, like Nick Pivetta, Garrett Richards, who else? Like, I mean, all these guys, like they've sort of gone after, and like Garrett Whitlock, the guy they got from the Yankees, the Rule 5 reliever. They've all been pretty good for this team. And I like the way the Red Sox are trending right now. I mean, they're trending upward. I mean, they're a very resilient team, which I like to see. I always like to see teams that are sort of resilient, don't bow down to adversity. They actually embrace adversity. And I think that this is what this team sort of looks like right now. So like, I don't know, Ujan, like obviously we talk about every week, like if this team like is for real. Like I think they are like genuinely like a team that will compete for like a wild card spot at least. I think at this point I can say they're a contender. I don't know if they're a real World Series contender because that's still several months down the road. But everything they've shown me right now is that they are a good team and they should be considered like a real team. Like right now, they should be respected as one.
Most definitely. I think they have a real shot at winning the division. At least it's shown to me, at least the last few weeks, it seems as though they at least have a shot at winning the division. I know I don't think the Red Sox have played the Yankees yet, so I think that's when the real test, at least to me, will come, because the Yankees have their star power in Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, and they generally have pretty good pitching. And you know the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry; those always get heated, don't they?
Yeah, whether it's A-Rod or Veritek or Joe Kelly and what's that guy's name? Tyler, I forgot his name.
Tyler Austin, I think.
Yeah, Tyler Austin from 2018. Like it's always something. But Joe, I don't know. What's your thoughts on this Red Sox team? Like, do you think this is the real deal, or do you think this is like a mirage?
I genuinely think that they're the real deal. I think what we've seen in the past 15 to 20 years is each time the Red Sox fall a little bit, their front office just picks them up very quickly, year or two, and they're back on the incline. And I agree with what you guys were saying about pitching. They have all of their starting pitchers that have pitched a significant number of games have a reasonable ERA, 3 to 4, and that's where you want to be nowadays. Most pitchers are not in the 2 or low 3 ERA anymore. It's a different league. There's a lot more home runs. So I think that they are definitely a contender, at least so far, if they can stay healthy, of course.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like they are actually playing right now. They're up 1-0 against the LA Angels. They're playing again the Angels today. Martin Perez is up on the mound for the Red Sox. He's been okay. Like the overall like rotation, I think the one thing that kind of does a little bit worry me is like, are they like, do they really have like a real ace on that roster? Like that, I mean, obviously if Chris Sale is healthy, then that's not a question, but he's like, I don't know if he'll be pitching for them this season. And like Garrett Richards, like obviously he was one like 6-7 years ago, but can he like consistently become that ace type guy? Nathan Eovaldi, I think at best he's really like a 3-starter. Like that's what we're sort of seeing out of him. And then I guess who else is there? Like Perez is okay at best. So that's the thing that sort of like makes me wonder. And I guess Erod is sort of the one that kind of is like the wild card. If he can actually kind of consistently be like your best pitcher, pitcher. And I mean, he's shown at times that he can do that, but we'll have to see what happens. But I don't know, Ujan, like where are you seeing them now? Wild card, like division, or like do you think that this team is like, how far do you see this team going now?
I think it's either gonna be a division or a wild card. You were talking about the pitchers. I would say I would add Nick Pivetta to that
Oh yeah, Pavetta's been awesome. Yeah, yeah. But do you like? I mean, yeah, no, I think he's really good. Yeah.
I was gonna say that he may be undefeated now, and last night may not have been his best outing, but still, it wasn't terrible.
2 runs allowed, right? That was it.
Yeah, and I think one of them was a home run to Shohei Ohtani, and it seems though everyone gives up a home run to Shohei Ohtani these days.
Yeah, I mean, he's been spectacular. Right? Like it's like kind of amazing in like the modern day we have a guy like that who's like a pitcher and a hitter, like who can do both of them simultaneously. Like, I don't know, Joe, like doesn't he like, I don't know, isn't it kind of amazing at this like 2021 we're seeing a guy who's like legitimately drawing comparisons to like Babe Ruth, like in terms of like how he's like a dual threat.
It really is. He generally, nowadays, you generally see specialization, and guys are picking a position by high school and sticking to that area, or at least whether it's infield or outfield, and they might shift a little bit. But to have a guy who's pitching and hitting for power and average, it's incredible.
I agree. Yeah, no, it's been pretty remarkable. He's a truly special player to watch. So looking forward to seeing what he has to do. Though, of course, I hope today and tomorrow he doesn't get any more hits and doesn't do any more damage against the Red Sox. But if he's playing the Yankees, please, every day, please have 5 hits for like 3 home runs. Don't care at all then. But yeah, that's our take on the Red Sox. Obviously, they've been continuing to play very well, and let's hope that they continue to play well. Remember, after they started 0-3 against the Orioles, everyone, including me, wrote them off. I thought that this team was toast, and I am so happy to have been proven wrong, because I want to see a competitive baseball team. I really don't like it when teams are just completely checked out. There's nothing to watch for and play for, especially in baseball. It is very hard to get invested into a baseball team if they are bad. Like that, it's like other sports, like it's just, you don't have the motivation, right? Like in football, if your team is like 1-15, you're like, oh, we get the top pick. Like if you're a Jaguars fan, you're like, oh, cool, we got Trevor Lawrence, the best pick in the draft. But in baseball, if you're like the worst team, like no one really cares that much about college baseball or knows the prospects. So that's why I'm just glad that the Red Sox have a team that's enjoyable to watch right now. And that's really all I can ask for, especially after how 2020 went. So let's see what happens with the Red Sox. But all right, now guys, this is going to be the fun part. Today for the Patriots and the NFL, we're going to go to the NFL next. The NFL did release their schedule back on May 12th. And Joe, as a Packers fan, we will cover the Green Bay Packers schedule as well. But first, let's go through the Patriots 17-game schedule. Yes, for the first time ever, we are going to have 17 regular season games, and there will be 18 weeks in the regular season. So we're going to cover the Patriots schedule week by week and make our predictions. And the way this will work, guys, this is how we're going to do it. All right. So, I mean, right now, obviously, there are going to be assumptions. We don't know if Cam Newton will be starting a game, or Mac Jones, or Jared Stidham, or I don't know who else, but we don't know that. So what we're just going to do is we're just going to make our picks and just sort of say, like, who do we think are going to win? And I guess the way we'll make like our final decision is we have 3 of us. So like whoever, like that'll be sort of like the tiebreaker. If 2 of us pick a win and 1 predicts a loss, we'll go with the win. All right. That's how we'll sort of do it. Or we can just sort of generally give our picks for how it goes. So which format do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer like sort of having a tiebreaker, or all of us just giving our picks one at a time? Actually, I think the way we can do is, for each game, each of us just gives our pick, and that's how we'll just sort of go. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah, let's just all give our picks, I think.
Yeah. All right.
Yep,
okay.
Sounds good.
So let's start with the Patriots. So week 1, once again for the 2nd straight year, they open at Gillette Stadium against the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to go with a win week 1. It's going to be Tua versus Cam Newton. That's my pick, and I think they're going to win this game.
I agree. Patriots win. I think with this one, it's week 1 against Miami. Fans will be back in Gillette Stadium. I think that's going to be like maybe not the 12th man, but it'll definitely give the Patriots a push. Week 1 win.
All right, Joe.
Agreed. Week 1 win for the Patriots. They've added a lot of key players on the offensive end. I like their 2 tight end acquisition there, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. I think that gives them a boost offensively, and they can get over the hump against Miami.
Awesome. Okay, so week 2 against the New York Jets. Zach Wilson will be the presumable starter for that game for the Jets. So I'm going to go with the win too. It's going to be a rookie quarterback, and Bill Belichick loves to face rookie quarterbacks. So I'm going to go with another win. They're going to start 2-0 this season.
I agree to that. I'm presuming I should say that for all the predictions for the Pats, I'm presuming that Cam Newton will be the starter. I think the Pats will go 2-0 and win against the Jets in New Jersey.
Agreed. I think the Patriots will be another rookie quarterback. I just think second week in the league, playing against one of the greatest defensive masterminds that the game has to offer, he's probably in for a difficult day. So I'll pick the Patriots.
Okay, so 2-0. All of us have them at 2-0 so far. And week 3, New Orleans Saints. No more Drew Brees. So it's either going to be Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill. And to that, I'm going to say this is going to be the first kind of challenging week, I think, for the Patriots, because Sean Payton is a good mastermind. They still have Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, but at home with a full crowd, Patriots again, 3-0. And I think Cam will start this game still, but I'll say that, yeah, I think Cam is going to start the season and they're going to go 3-0. They're going to beat the Saints. So 3-0 start. Ujan, what's your pick?
I agree. 3-0. New Orleans will be different without Drew Brees. It's going to be very odd to see New Orleans without Drew Brees. I've known Drew Brees as a New Orleans Saints quarterback pretty much since I started following football. So this is going to definitely feel weird. They still have.
Oh, well, trust me. I'm just saying one thing. If you think this week is going to be weird, wait till what happens next week. But we will get to that one. All right. Okay. No spoilers, but okay, go. Let's go.
Yep. But yeah, like you said, I think the Pats will win. I mean, they're at home, and I think that it'll come down to the fact that the Pats defense will stuff Jameis Winston. Maybe it'll come down to a last drive or last play of the game kind of thing.
I think this game is going to be close. The Saints have had a great team, especially defensively, that kind of had gotten overlooked because of Drew Brees. But I think just because they don't have that kind of veteran starter anymore, I do think that the Patriots will walk away with probably about a 3-point win here.
Okay, so 3-0, and I guess now week 4, they're going to be facing the Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the quarterback of the Buccaneers is someone we all know very, very well. We've seen him many, many times over the years, especially in New England. It's Tom Brady. He's going to be returning to Gillette Stadium, and I don't know, this is going to be the first time I'm going to go with a loss. They're not going to. Brady is going to. I think it's going to be a close-ish game. But I think Brady is just going to. I mean, that Buccaneers team, the defense is really good. Their offense is loaded, everything about them. Brady is going to, I think it'll be I don't know, maybe 24-21. It will be a close game, but I think Tampa is going to win this game. But it's going to be close. But that's where I say 3-1 to start the season. And Brady beats all 32 NFL teams. He joined Peyton Manning. And I think Drew Brees and Brett Favre as the only quarterbacks to beat all 32 teams in the league. So, yeah, I have the Buccaneers winning week 4.
I do too. I kind of put this down as a little I was unsure about this, but I think it's going to be very emotional, let's say, considering Brady returning to Gillette Stadium, at least to say the least. But Tampa's offense and defense are really good, and they showed that in their playoff run last season. So I think it's just going to be a little bit too much. They haven't lost any pieces, so it's going to be pretty much the same team. So I think it's going to be a Tampa Bay win, but it'll be close. Joe?
Yes, that defense is vicious. They get after the quarterback. They create turnovers, and what we saw from Cam Newton last year is not indicative of someone that can overcome that defense on enough drives to get past the Buccaneers. And even with the crowd helping them out, I don't think that the Patriots defense will be able to slow down Brady quite enough to make an impact. I'm picking the Buccaneers.
Okay, so 3-1, and this is also a Sunday night football game. So yeah, this their first primetime game. All right, so 3-1, that's still pretty good. And then they play week 5, Houston Texans. I'm gonna go with the win. I don't know if Deshaun Watson will be starting that game or what will be going on, but I know last year they lost to Houston, but I think this year they're gonna beat Houston. So, and I think this game is, I mean, it's in Houston for the third straight year. Like they're gonna be in Houston, but I think they're gonna win this game. So I'll go with 4-1.
I was actually going to go 4-1 as well. But yes, we lost to Houston last year, but that came down to it was a one-score game, and they had a chance to at least tie the game late on. I'm not talking about the Hail Mary. I'm talking about the fourth down missed conversion. So at least they kept it pretty close. And the way it was going, the Pats should have won that game if they kept hell, if they were just still with if they stuck to the running game, if memory serves me correctly. So
Houston had a terrible run defense, and Damian Harris scored a touchdown like on the first drive, and I'm like, okay, they're going to run over Houston, and they start passing, and I'm like, why are you passing the ball? Like when Damian Harris could probably have like 150 yards if you had used him correctly. That was such a frustrating game.
yeah, I agree. But maybe Bill Belichick learned his lesson this time. I don't really see Houston's run defense that much better than last season. After all, Houston was what, a 4-win team last year?
Yeah, that was with Deshaun Watson. Now they probably don't have Deshaun Watson next year, or like I don't know what the situation is, but like I don't think
But
I'm Houston
even
might be
with even with if they have Deshaun Watson, who does he have to throw the ball to? It's not like they don't have DeAndre Hopkins anymore.
Well, Will Fuller was doing pretty good, but then he got suspended. So that's literally their team right now. They have Philip Lindsay. So it's a bad roster. It's a pretty bad roster. New coaches there too. It's a mess there. So I'm gonna go with they're gonna go 4-1.
I agree.
Joe?
Yeah, I agree with most of what you guys are saying. I think, especially considering not only the uncertainty at the quarterback position, but the turnover at the head coaching position, this team just has too many issues to resolve right now. New England wins it.
Okay, so far it's been pretty much all of us agree on everything. Interesting. I mean, it's fine. I mean, we all like. I mean, 4-1. It's a pretty decent schedule to start off the season, I must say. So yeah, and then week 6 they play the Dallas Cowboys, first time since 2019. This is gonna be an interesting game, and like I mean, it's gonna be a tough one. Like Dallas has a pretty good offense. Dak Prescott should be back from his injury. Mike McCarthy, he's a solid coach. Joe, I know you know him well, and you are not always the biggest fan of him. Or actually, no, was that someone else? Another Packers fan friend who wasn't the biggest fan of
And
him always.
mixed results for Mike McCarthy. Super Bowl winner, appreciate that, but some of his late game, close game management, as you know, certain NFC Championship game in Seattle, for instance, not too good.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't know. This is gonna be a tough one. Like, I mean, you have Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott is still there, CD Lamb. They should have an improved defense, but we'll see about that. I don't know. This is gonna be a tough one. Like, I guess I'll just be the guy. Like, I'll say Cowboys win this one. So 4-2.
I'm gonna go Patriots win. So I guess this will be the first one where we disagree on. I think considering the 2019 game, the Pats defense really won that game for at least won the game for the team.
13-9, right? It was like a very
Yep, it was 13-9. I think the difference was a blocked punt, and which led to a touchdown. It's not like the offense drove down the field and so many times and punched it in the end zone.
It's N'Keal Harry, right? Who scored that touchdown, if I remember correctly. I believe N'Keal Harry was the one who scored the one touchdown of the day for the Patriots that day. It was actually the one touchdown of the game because Dallas had 3 field goals and New England had 2 field goals of that touchdown by Harry. So yeah, no, that was a pretty very weird. Yeah, it was a very rainy day. You're right, Joe. I remember it was like November of 2019. So yeah, no, I mean, I'll go with Dallas. Like, I mean, I think Dallas is like probably, I mean, aside from Tampa, like that's going to be like the next best roster you face, and they have a very good offense. And I'm just not sure if Cam Newton's going to be able to keep up. Though I guess if the defense does like harass like the Cowboys offense enough, then I think things could get interesting. But I'll go with Dallas for this week. I know Ujan, you're sticking with the Patriots. That's fine. Like I hope you're right. And Joe, what's your pick?
I'm going to go with the Cowboys in a close one, but it all hinges upon the mobility of Dak Prescott coming off of this injury. If he's not able to scramble like we're used to seeing from him, I do think that the New England pass rush, especially with a key addition in the draft of Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma, I think they will be able to get to him. But if he's at close to 100%, I like the Cowboys with all of their speed, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke Elliott. So
Michael
I'll pick
Gallup,
the
too, and
Cowboys.
Amari Cooper. I forgot about Michael Gallup. And yeah, they have a pretty good offensive line still. Their defense is like a lot of turnover has been made. They drafted Micah Parsons in the first round. So yeah, I think Dallas wins this game, but it will be close. I do agree it will be a close game. So okay, so Joe and I have them at 4-2. Ujan, you have them at 5-1. That's good. And now week 7, they play the New York Jets again. This is at home, and Zach Wilson will be starting again. Patriots win this game. They're playing the Jets. The Jets are still I don't think they're going to be a great team. So yeah, I have them at 5-2 after week 7, a win against the Jets again. So they sweep that series.
Yeah, I got the Pats winning that. Bill Belichick loves when rookie quarterbacks come to Gillette Stadium. I don't think I thought there was somewhere where I read that no rookie quarterback has won at Gillette Stadium when under a Bill Belichick coach Patriots team, or maybe there's one. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Like, I mean, I think honestly, like, the only quarterback I can think of in recent memory as a rookie who beat the Patriots in recent memory is Tua last year. He beat the Patriots in Miami. Like when the Patriots were in Miami, that second game, Tua was a starter. So he was a rookie and he won that game. I think Geno Smith may have also done that in 2013, but that was a long time ago. When also when he was with the Jets.
I was gonna say that those are both. Oh, those are in New York and Miami, not in Gillette. This one's in Gillette.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. No, you're right. You're right. That's what I'm saying. Like the only 2 quarterbacks in recent memory who've even had success against him were on the road, and those are the guys I can think of. So yeah, I mean, I'm going with a win there, 5-2. Joe, who are you picking?
I think at this point in the year, Zach Wilson is going to have his feet a little bit more wet, as they say. He'll start to get into a rhythm. I think that the Jets have a good new head coach, Robert Saleh. I believe they'll be trending in the right direction. But something again about playing against the Patriots. I remember Sam Darnold seeing ghosts comment, and I think that the Patriots will win this one still.
Yeah, I agree. I do like the Jets head coach. Salah seems like a pretty smart guy. He was the 49ers defensive coordinator when they got to the Super Bowl, and that was the calling card for that 49ers team, that in the run game. So yeah. Okay, so 5-2. Ujan, you have them at 6-1. So now they play the LA Chargers. Obviously, last season, very interesting game. Patriots won there 45-0. Once again, they returned to SoFi Stadium to play the Chargers. I don't think it's going to be 45-0. But I mean, I don't know. The Chargers have an interesting team, but like I just feel like there's always something about that team that just they find a way to choke and blow games. So I'm going to go with a win again in LA. So they're going to be 6-2 now after 8 weeks. Ujan, who are you picking?
I got the Pats going 7-1. It's gonna be another win at SoFi Stadium against the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert will have a year 1 to year 2 improvement though, and especially when they have a new coach, and I think it's Brandon Staley from the Rams defensive coordinator.
Yep, Staley. Yep.
Plus they have they added an offensive lineman to protect Justin Herbert in the draft. So I think Herbert will have a much better game against the Pats.
The special teams was also the problem. You remember like that blocked field goal? They had a punt return allowed to Gunnar Olszewski, and then he had another one that was like negated because of like a penalty by the Patriots. So like the Chargers special team, did they improve that? Because they can improve everything on Herbert's side, but if they don't improve their special teams, the Patriots are once again going to have a field day, right?
They would, but it's special teams and defense too. I mean, I think Brandon Staley, like I said, he was a defensive coordinator of the Rams, so I think he'll get the defense sorted out. And so it really will come down to special teams. It's not really like the kicker or punter or anything. It's just more of like these tic-tac. I remember there was like a 12 men on the field on a 4th and 5-yard penalty, first down kind of thing. Like it's really just like kind of game management, if you will.
Yeah, this will be a reunion game for Hunter Henry. He returns to the Chargers. So that will be interesting. But Joe, I mean, this is interesting. So like, I'm just going to note this, like, Joe, give your pick, but like, I mean, I have them at 6-2. You have them at 7-1. So we have I mean, that's not just like a really good team. That's like one of the best teams in the NFL. Good. So we with Cam Newton or Mac Jones, we have them at 6-2 and 7-1. That's like a top team in the NFL, which is like that's kind of noteworthy to think of. So we have pretty high expectations for this team. Just worth noting, like which is interesting to see. Just like a 7-1 team, like if you'd say someone's 7-1 after 8 games, you're like, this is like one of the best teams in the NFL. This is like a Super Bowl contender. So it's just something worth noting. Joe, what are you picking? Who are you picking for this game?
Right. I think that this early half of the schedule is definitely conducive to them picking up a lot of early wins, but and there also is the 45-0 drubbing that they handed the Chargers last year. But there was just this will be a different game. That game, it just got out of hand for the Chargers. I don't see that happening this year. They'll have fans in the seats at SoFi. And something about West Coast trips can just trip up an East Coast team. I'm going to pick the LA Chargers in this one. They Justin Herbert should have an improvement, and I like them in this one.
Okay, so 5-3. I mean, I'll still take that if that's what happens. So I'm okay. So that's good. Joe, you have them at 5-3. I got them at 6-2. Ujan, you have them at 7-1. So okay. So now week 9, Carolina Panthers. Sam Darnold is the presumable starter. I'm gonna go with a win here. Like I don't think the Panthers are that much better at this point. Like Darnold, like Belichick loves facing Darnold, and unless like he sees a drastic improvement. I know it's on the road, and this will be an interesting one, but I'm going to go with the win here. So 7-2. They're going to win against the Panthers. This is going to be a pretty big win.
Yeah, this should be noteworthy in the sense that if Cam Newton is the starter by this point, it's his return to Carolina.
Oh, revenge game. He got released for Teddy Bridgewater. So this is going to be a motivating game for him too. Yeah, I forgot about that completely. So yeah.
I think, like I said early on, I'm presuming for all 17 games that Cam Newton will be the starter. So I'm gonna go with a Pats win. Cam Newton. I think the thing with Carolina is they don't really have a great run defense, and their offense I'm not so sure about. Maybe Sam Darnold will do well.
They have McCaffrey, but like that's kind of it. And they have Robbie Anderson. They have decent players, but it's not like a great roster overall. McCaffrey's the best running back in the league, yes, but like the whole team around him is like kind of like whatever. Like I'm pretty sure for that game, like Belichick just go stack the box against McCaffrey and make sure that he doesn't beat them, and then you force Sam Darnold to beat you. And if that happens, then so be it. But I think that's what they're gonna do. So okay, so you have them beating the Panthers then?
Yes, I do.
8-1. Okay.
One then.
All right, Joe, what are you picking?
I think that Matt Rule, he has shown in the past, albeit in college, and I know there's a difference between college coaching and pro coaching. He's able to turn programs around, both Baylor and I believe it was Temple before that.
Yeah, that's where I think he worked with Robbie Anderson, right, at Temple.
That sounds right. At both of those teams, they were 1 or 2 win teams in his first year, and they went up to being very competitive within their conferences by about year 3 or 4. So I do think that the Panthers will be trending in the right direction, even despite playing in the same division as Tampa Bay, which makes it hard. But I just don't think they're there yet, and I see the Patriots experience taking the day in this one. New England wins. So
6-3. So okay. Now week 10, Joe, your old guy, Baker Mayfield, a former Sooner. So old Sooner alumni. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna go with it. It's a home game against the Browns, but the Browns are an improved team, and I'm gonna say they're gonna lose this game. It's gonna be a close one, but I think Cleveland is like kind of like, I mean, they're sort of like, people are saying that they're a Super Bowl contender, and I agree. Like they have a really good roster this year. So I'm gonna go with Cleveland winning this game. It's gonna be a close one again. So I have the Patriots at 7-3. So Ujan, who are you picking?
I'm gonna go Cleveland as well. I think that high power offense of Cleveland, like it kind of I think we were all, I wouldn't say sold on them against Pittsburgh in that crazy wild card game, but like going into KC, they had a shot against KC, If memory serves
I
me correct.
mean, well, they only really had that chance because Mahomes went out. Because when Mahomes was in that game, Kansas City was kind of running away with that, right? And then Mahomes leaves the game due to the concussion, and then Cleveland has that chance. And then, of course, it came down to Chad Henne with that late game 14-yard run on third down to make it 4th and 1. And then Andy Reid trusted him to make that 4th and 1 pass to Tyreek Hill to seal that win. So yeah, that was a pretty big, like, I don't know, that was an exciting game to watch. I think, yeah, no, but I agree. Like Cleveland has a good roster.
But even before that, there was that play where at least I think it was Higgins who was trying to
Yes, and he lost the ball in the end zone, and the Chiefs
exactly.
got the ball.
That would have.
That was bad.
I think that would have changed that would have changed the game completely if he actually scored that, or at least went out of bounds. Then Cleveland scores like the next in the ensuing play
Yeah, give it to Kareem Hunt or Nick Chubb, and that's like easy 6 points. That's as easy as it gets, like the best duo in the league. So yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one. The Patriots' run defense is also still sort of suspect, and Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, both of those guys are Pro Bowl caliber players. So I expect Cleveland to run the ball a lot in this game, and the Patriots' run defense is still sort of suspect. So yeah, I have Cleveland winning. Ujan has it, and Joe, I can only guess what your pick is as a Baker Mayfield fan.
Right. There is that. I do have question though. The odd thing with the Browns was it seemed like they played together better, and Mayfield had a little bit more of a rhythm after Odell Beckham's injury. I think it had to do with the fact that he wasn't trying to force the ball to any one player as he was when Odell was out there. So we'll have to see how they manage that this year. But I do think that with the Browns really stacked roster, I do think that they will be able to win this time in New England. But I do think it will be close.
Yep. Okay, so Joe, you have them at 6-4. I have them at 7-3. Ujan has them at 8-2. All right. Okay, just keeping track. All right. Now we get to face our old friends, the Atlanta Falcons, who blew a 28-3 lead. We always have to say that when they play the Patriots. It's going to be 5 years ago. So they're going to play the Falcons on a Thursday night. Excuse me. And I think the game is in Atlanta. It's going to be an interesting one. Like, it's going to be a Thursday night game. I'm not sure how I feel about this. If they lose to the Browns, do they lose in Atlanta? Matt Ryan's still there. I'm going to go with the Falcons actually winning this game. Matt Ryan gets a little bit of revenge against the Patriots for what happened 5 years ago. So you have another loss on a Thursday night. It's just going to be a tough one. Or just losing to the Browns. You have to travel to Atlanta. So yeah, I'm going to go with another loss, 7-4. Still pretty good.
Here's the thing. It seems as though last Thursday night, the last time we played on Thursday night, it was against the Rams, and that was a Super Bowl rematch per se. And the Rams won that one, and the Patriots won the bigger deal, the Super Bowl. Now the Patriots have, and here it's kind of like a similar situation, except with the Falcons, it seems as though they have Kyle Pitts and Julio Jones and Matt Ryan, but it's not the same Atlanta offense as it was in 2016. And while I do realize it's a Thursday night and it's going to be a short week for both teams, I think, I actually see the Pats pulling this one off and getting a win.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll take it. Joe, who are you picking?
If I'm not mistaken, I read recently that the Falcons are thinking of trading Julio Jones this summer. And so that to me indicates that they are more or less planning on a rebuild, and perhaps Matt Ryan only has a few years left as their starter. But anyway, and especially if they do trade Julio Jones, I think that limits their offensive capacity.
Well, they still have Calvin Ridley, right? Like Calvin Ridley's become the number one offense, like option for that team now. So Julio's kind of like, I mean, he has like the name recognition still, but Calvin Ridley's like the guy who really emerged as their number one receiver, and he's like their real like budding star now. Him, Kyle Pitts, like Matt Ryan, I have my doubts on how good he still is now. Like I think he's really declined these last several years. But yeah, I think like Ridley's the main guy there now, and he's still going to be there. So that's what kind of concerns me, because he's a number one wide receiver now. Like he's like legitimately like a top receiver in this league.
Right. And they do have, as you said, Kyle Pitts. I think he is going to be pretty quickly emerging as a top-tier tight end. Just his ability in college, he he almost was like a wide receiver the way he could run routes and catch passes, and because of his size, he can also block. So I like that acquisition, but I have concerns about the Falcons' run defense, and the Patriots are relatively deep at that position, and they've re-signed some key offensive linemen. So I like the Patriots to ground and pound this one past the Falcons.
Okay, so now Joe, we both have them at 7-4. Ujan has them at 9-2. Okay, that's good. So now, week 12, Tennessee Titans, first time since that wild card game, which turned out to be Tom Brady's final game in a Patriots uniform. They're going to play them, and I'm going to go with a W here. Like, I think they've lost to the Titans long enough now. 2 straight they've lost, and they're going to find a way to limit Derrick Henry. That is the Titans' offense at the end of the day. Like, I don't trust Ryan Tannehill to win them that game. It wasn't Ryan Tannehill against the Titans for the Titans in that wild card win. It was Derrick Henry had like that nice performance for sure. He was great, like 182 rushing yards, I believe, against the Patriots that wild card game. But the real reason the Patriots lost that game was because their offense did nothing that game. It wasn't the Titans' defense as much. It was the Patriots' offense just fell flat. So I think this time the Patriots are going to beat the Titans, and they're going to do just enough, and they're going to limit Ryan Tannehill, and they're going to win this game 8-4 after week 12.
I'm going to have to disagree on this one. And the reason being, it seems as though Mike Vrabel has Bill Belichick's number. If you think about it, 2018, the Titans just blew the Patriots out of the stadium, like from the opening kickoff. And like you said, the last wild card game, it was close throughout until that last pick six, but like really, the Pats should have had more than one touchdown. I remember that they had the 1st and goal from the 1 yard line, and they settled for a field goal. Like really, you have to do that in the playoffs. And yes, the offense is different from I guess January 2020, but it seems as though Tennessee's defense will keep the Titans in the game, and I think Tennessee will pull this one off.
Interesting. Okay, so 9-3. I have them at 8-4. Joe, who are you picking?
I'm gonna go with the Titans as well on this one. I think that Derrick Henry, the Patriots, he's the kind of guy that can overcome 7 or 8 in the box and still have a good game, and that's aided by their offensive line, of course. And I do think that Ryan Tannehill is a serviceable starter, and they have weapons on the outside. A.J. Brown's great. So even with not having John Smith, so he's playing against his former team here. I do think that the Tennessee Titans defense that will carry them through this one. They'll get just enough from their offense to win a tight one.
Okay. All right. So now week 13, they face the Buffalo Bills on Monday night. I think that's going to be a tough one playing in Buffalo. Buffalo is a real team now. Monday night primetime game. Obviously, hopefully it's not as bad as what happened last year on Monday night against the Bills at home. But I'm going to go with the Bills this game. I think the Bills are still a very good team. Josh Allen, I think they're going to be once again like a real contender in the league. But I think the Patriots are, as an improved team, will give them a much like bigger fight this time. So, but I do have the Bills winning this game. So, yep. So that's
Yeah, I think the Bills are going to win this game. It should be noted that last season it was had Cam Newton not fumbled the ball in the red zone, I think the Pats would have at least sent it to overtime or perhaps won the game, at least the way they were driving. I think that was the real shot at for the Pats to at least steal a game per se. Maybe it wouldn't have meant too much later on down the road, but it seems as though with an improved Pats team, the defense will at least seem to at least have a chance to hold Josh Allen to lower statistics, maybe. But that being said, the Bills offense has a lot, and I think considering how many times the Bills fans have seen the Patriots blow them out of Orchard Park, and I think the Bills are going to win this one, especially like you said, it's a Monday night.
All right, so you have them at 9-4 now. I have them at 8-5. Joe, who are you picking?
I like Buffalo in this one too, especially at home. Bills Mafia, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. I think it's just going to be too much to overcome. Uh, I see the Bills just outscoring the Patriots offense. I do think that the Pats will have success. The Bills showed at times last year that they had some holes in the backside of their defense, but ultimately I see the Bills winning this one.
Okay, so yep, we all have them losing to the Bills. Then they have a bye week in week 14, pretty late. Then they face the Indianapolis Colts. This is gonna be a tough one in Indianapolis. We're gonna see Carson Wentz, Frank Reich, that Colts team, which is a pretty good team. So I don't know. This is gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna have to say, like, this is probably gonna have to be their signature road win of the season. They're gonna go into Indianapolis and win that game. Like they have to at this point if they want to have a shot at the playoffs. So I guess 9-5. I mean, it's gonna be a tough one, but I think they're gonna come through and win in Indianapolis. Maybe the Colts help them out with another one of their fake punt specials.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Pats win here. It seems as though if there's always one place that Belichick seems to like outside of the division, and to me that's Indianapolis. We talked about that game. Remember in 2014 where I guess it was the original Deflategate when Brady. I guess that it wasn't the original kind of
Yeah, the
deflated.
2014 regular season game, right? When Gronk
Yep.
and Sergio Brown got at it and stuff like that in the sideline. And
Yep, that
Gronk
one,
like,
and
blocked him. Yep.
right, and that was the game where Jonas Gray made like a one game appearance, and
Oh
then
yeah, 201 yards, and then he fell asleep, and then he never played again for the Patriots.
yeah,
What a way to like what a career to have. Like 201 yards, and then you fall asleep, you miss practice, and then they just never play you again. Just classic Bill Belichick being brutal.
yeah. So I reckon that it's gonna be Pats win. I'm just not really sold on like Indianapolis's run defense. So this seems to be at least a shot where you could at least hand the ball off to Damian Harrison and he'll do his thing. So I think it's gonna be a Pats win, but it'll be close.
Okay. Joe, who are you picking?
I have my doubts after last season about Carson Wentz. I know he's getting reunited with his former offensive coordinator here in Indianapolis, Frank Reich, but I still have concerns about his accuracy and just his general playmaking ability. So I do think that there is kind of a downgrade here from Philip Rivers. So I'm not sure that the Colts will be what they were last year, a 10-6 team. I'm not sure that they're going to be quite as competitive this year. And I think given that, I like New England in this one. I think their defense will maybe get a couple of takeaways, and that will win them this game by a score or two.
Okay, so I have them now at 9-5. Ujan, what's your record at this point? I think I have them at 9-5.
I
Ujan,
got
you have
10
them
and 4.
10-4. Joe, are you 8-6 then?
I believe I'm 8-6. Yep.
Okay, I mean, we'll take that. I mean, all of us basically have them exceeding last season's win total, and there still are 3 more games to go. That's a pretty successful season. But okay, now they play Buffalo again, week 16. This time it's going to be different. They're going to be at home. They're not going to get swept again. They're going to remember that Monday night loss, and they're going to come away with a win this time. They're going to beat the Bills, and they're going to get the split in this series. So they are going to beat Buffalo in the rematch.
I agree. It seems as though the Pats, I mean, over the years, it seems as though the Pats have just loved to play the Bills, apart from last year. But it should be noted that last year, both games were played with no fans for either team. And it just seems as though this is one of those where, like, if you have the crowd will seem to at least make a difference. And for me, the home team wins the home team wins the division series. So Buffalo wins in Orchard Park, and I think the Pats are going to win in Foxborough this time.
Also worth noting that second game, the Monday night game, that was like on the heels of the Patriots being eliminated from the playoffs. So who knows how like checked in the players were even for that game? Because at that point, the season's already over for them, right? And initially that game was like semi-close, and then the Bills just sort of like late sort of went on that run. But at that point, it didn't really matter, right? It was embarrassing, but like who really cared at that point? And, like the Patriots already knew their season was over. So like I think this time, like with something at stake, the team is going to really be, and they're going to remember this game. Like they remember like. The Patriots remember humiliating losses. Remember Kansas City in 2014? Excuse me. So, yeah, I think the Patriots are going to win this rematch. And, yep. So, Joe, what's your pick?
Yeah, I think last year was kind of an aberration for the New England Patriots, and prior to that, you just don't see them lose meaningful football games when it gets cold at home. And I think that will hold true. I think they find a way to pull this one out, maybe by a field goal against Buffalo.
All right. Okay. So 10-5. Ujan, you got them at 11-4. Joe, you have them at 9-6. Okay. So now, Joe, they're now going to be facing the guy I wanted, the future face of Head and Shoulders, Trevor Lawrence, in the Jacksonville Jaguars week 16. Or sorry, week 17. I wanted Lawrence, but unfortunately, he's going to be in sunny Florida. His hair is going to be shining. He'll have it out every day.
All that humidity, though, at Jacksonville, that's going to be hard on his hair. A lot of humidity there.
Yeah, poor guy. And I think that's going to be the least of his worries in Jacksonville, having the humidity. I think he's going to have to worry a lot about the incoming pass rush and defenders he's going to have to be fielding and trying to avoid.
It won't be like playing at Clemson, that's for sure. He won't have nearly as much time in that pocket.
Yeah, probably not year one. Yeah, and as you can tell, I'm going to go with the Patriots winning this game. The Jaguars have completely fallen off the wheel since that 2017 season. Patriots are going to win this game, and they are going to win their, I guess, 11th game of the season. Yeah, 11th win of the season. So going to be 11-5 after 17 weeks. Ujan, who are you picking?
I'm going to pick New England. It should be noted that this game would be in Gillette Stadium, so I'm just not sure how used to the cold weather Jacksonville would be, especially with like Trevor Lawrence, considering where he played in the SEC. With like
Clemson's in South Carolina, right? So still like decently like cold weather, right?
But it's like late in the seasons. By this time it'll be like January 2021. And maybe who knows, maybe it'll be snowing. It's obviously we're not going to be able to tell the weather on May 15th for January 2022. But it seems but I think maybe the cold weather might get to them, unless it's like some unseasonably mild day. But this is one of those where it's like a rookie quarterback in Gillette Stadium. And Bill Belichick loves those. So Pats win.
I agree about the weather. Trevor Lawrence is from South Carolina too, I believe, and so he's used to playing in the warm weather. The only time he's played in colder weather was when they traveled to Boston College, and those games I believe were in like October. So this may be the coldest game he's ever played in. So that'll be interesting to see, how he handles just the cold in terms of his grip on the football, little things like that. But regardless of that, I do think that Jacksonville will improve this year a bit with Urban Meyer and Lawrence, but it won't make a difference in this one. New England wins it.
Okay, so 10-6, 11 and Joe has them at 10-6. I got them at 11-5. Ujan, you got them at 12-4, right? So now week 18, the Miami Dolphins, the 17th regular season game. This is in Miami. The Patriots usually have trouble winning in Miami in general. So besides 2019 and 2016 in recent memory. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins. They'll probably still be a good team. And the Patriots never seem to be able to like win there for some reason, like consistently enough. So yeah, I have them at 11-6 to end the season. Ujan, who are you picking?
I was a little unsure about this one going in. But I think here's the thing. Bill Belichick knows like when they lost, like from the season before, like last year, it was a loss in Miami, which ultimately eliminated them. That one loss confirmed their elimination from the playoffs. But the year before they they smoked Miami 43-0. Yes, they were like the offense was on another level at that day, and never was the same after that. But it seems as though the Patriots will want to end the season strong and have a point to prove. And though it seems as though they're going to have at least an above 500 record, so regardless of what we think, they'll probably have something to play for. And usually when that happens, they're gonna pull off a win. So I think they're gonna go with a win. And I have them ending at 13-4.
That would be one hell of a season. I have them at 11-6 then. And Joe, what is your pick?
I think that the trend continues. Not that it happens every year, but just their struggles, like you said, in Miami. And I do think that this Miami team has improved quite a bit. They kind of got gypped out of the playoffs last year, considering their record. They really were a wild card worthy team.
It was like the week 17, right? They lost by like 30 to the Bills, I think, like 56-26 in like week 17. That's what like did them in the end, right? Because they would have made the playoffs, I think, otherwise.
Right. That's right. And it's hard to fault them for that. Buffalo was playing for higher seeding, and Buffalo just in general is a great team, but I do think that with their improvement last year, and they drafted well this year, playing at home and probably playing for a wild card spot again, I do think Miami pulls it out, and the Patriots
so
finish
10-7?
at 10-7.
Okay,
which
so
I
10-7.
That should put them in the playoffs with the 7-team format.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, last year 11-5, like 10-6 wasn't good enough last year to make it. So I'm yeah, but I have them at 11-6. You got them at 10-7, and Ujan has them at 13-4. So all three of us have an improvement over the 2020 season.
It should be noted. I wanted to say one thing with it seemed they have a later bye week, at least this season. Last year they had a pretty early bye week, so they were playing every single week. And I think it got to a point where I don't know if it had to do with like the fact that they were maybe a little tired, but not, at least toward the end of the season, and they couldn't exactly like pull off the wins. Maybe at least starting with the LA Rams game, like after winning 45-0. But now that with a later bye week, I can see them at least kind of making a strong push to the finish this time.
Let's see. And anyways, we were kind of like already overtime a little bit. So I don't think we can go through all Packers 17 weeks. So I'm just going to ask you guys like quickly, like, so, I mean, sorry, we're not gonna be able to do a week by week Packers preview. That's going to take too much time. So instead, I'm just going to say this improvised version. Let's give the Packers a win-loss record for the 2021 season. I'll start first. I still think Green Bay has a good roster. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to start. So I guess we can now do like if Rodgers is there, if Rodgers is there, since it's just a simple win-loss record. If Aaron Rodgers is there, I have Green Bay going 13-4. They still have Aaron Rodgers, the MVP, Devontae Adams. They're mad about what happened last season. They're going to still be a great team. I have them at 13-4. If Aaron Rodgers is not starting and it comes down to Jordan Love or whoever, or like they get a quarterback in a trade, then I think it's going to be, then I think the quarterback then is going to be, if it's Jordan Love, I say like 5-12. It's going to be a rebuilding team if Aaron Rodgers is not the starter. Devontae Adams was probably traded as well then. So that's what my pick is. Ujan, what's your pick for Green Bay's record next season?
Yeah, so I actually had them listed out. I had the games listed out, at least then I was going to do this with Aaron Rodgers as a starting quarterback. And I had them going at 15-2 with the two losses, looking at my notes, being at Kansas City and then at Baltimore. In terms of if Aaron Rodgers isn't there, I don't exactly have an exact record I could give you, at least ready to go. But looking at the schedule here, I could see them definitely losing to San Francisco, losing to Pittsburgh, I think, because I'm not entirely sure about their run defense. And then with Pittsburgh having Najee Harris, that could be definitely a game changer. And then at Chicago, Justin Fields in his first time playing against Green Bay, I think, and it would be in Chicago. I could see at least the Chicago team like getting a little hyped up for that.
They have Seahawks, Vikings, Rams. They have a lot of teams that would like give them trouble if Aaron Rodgers, like even with Aaron Rodgers, it'd be tough. Like without Aaron Rodgers, like you have to play Seattle, Minnesota. Minnesota actually beat them last season or two in the regular season. Seattle is always a tough team for them to face, and the Rams are still a very good team. Obviously, the Packers beat them in the playoffs, but without Rodgers, it's going to be tough. So yeah, Joe, like what are you thinking? Like obviously without Rodgers, like and with Rodgers, what's your pick? I guess Ujan, like if Rodgers isn't playing.
I think the Packers would be about 8-19 without Rodgers.
Wow, that's still pretty solid.
It should be noted that you were talking about Seattle. This is the matchup against Seattle will be in Green Bay, and Seattle seems to always struggle in Green Bay. Joe talked about the 2014 NFC Championship game. That was in Seattle. Green Bay seems to always struggle in Seattle. Seattle always seems to struggle in Green Bay. So I think
Right.
regardless of quarterback, they should at least beat Seattle. And knowing Seattle, they seem to be pretty inconsistent. So they always have one of those. They always seem to have weird results and like any given in any week. And I just think Green Bay will at least beat Seattle. But at least that's one constant.
Okay, so on my end, if Aaron Rodgers is there, I still think it's a tough season. They are playing the NFC West, which is arguably the toughest division in football. They really have four teams. I think Frisco will be better this year, so they have four teams that can really challenge you on both ends of the ball, offensively and defensively. And then they play the AFC North. That's another tough division. You obviously have Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland are competitive, and Cincinnati's up and coming. Then the NFL did them no favors by scheduling Kansas City as their additional game this year. So I think even with Rodgers, I would have them at about 12-5, which should be enough to win the division, but it won't certainly be enough to get the bye. Without Aaron Rodgers, I would probably put them. They're still a good team in terms of the supporting cast. So it won't be throwing Jordan Love or Blake Bortles, whoever gets the week one nod, to the Wolves per se, but it just won't be easy. Aaron Rodgers covers up a lot of flaws with his game management and precision. So I would have them at about 7-10 without Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's our take on the NFL. Obviously we did the Patriots preview, and then we looked through the Packers just very quickly. So last topic, just the NBA. The Celtics, I put them last because they deserve the least amount of coverage right now. They are horrible. Obviously the Jaylen Brown news, it's unfortunate, out for the season, but really honestly, even if he was playing, let's be real, this team was going nowhere. They beat Minnesota today. Yay. What a great win. Very inspiring win. Jason Tatum with 26 points. And they finished off the season against New York tomorrow. They're going to be the play-in round, likely playing Charlotte. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, hopefully they can at least win in the play-in round, and then I guess that secures them the 7 seed, right? And then they have to face Brooklyn. Honestly, I'd rather just see them miss the playoffs altogether than not have to just be humiliated by the Nets and Kyrie and everyone. So yeah, I don't know. The Celtics, it was just a very disappointing season. Danny Ainge better be making moves. He did say that he was going to do that on the local radio show. He's going to be making some major moves. Something needs to change. I don't know what it is entirely. Like if you trade Jaylen, I think you keep Tatum, but maybe you shop around Jaylen and see if you can get someone else. It doesn't seem like those two really mesh together. Is Brad Stevens really the answer for you at this point? I think you might have to investigate a coaching swap. Look at what happened with Philadelphia, replacing Brett Brown with Doc Rivers. Philly is now the 1 seed. Look like a completely different team now with a good, respectable coach. I think Brad is a good coach, but for some reason he just doesn't seem to do well like once he has a star player. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on the Celtics. That's what I'm just going to say. NBA playoffs are starting up. I'm honestly not that enthusiastic about them at this point. Like I don't really care. Like the Celtics are just bad. They'll probably lose in round 1. Probably get swept by the Nets. Maybe if they're lucky, they win 1 game against the Nets, but yeah, it's just a very disappointing season altogether. I'm extremely disappointed by this team, especially after what happened last season. You made it to the conference finals, underachieved against Miami, and you follow it up with this type of season. Extremely disappointing. I'd give them like an F for their performance this season. That's how bad it was. But yeah, that's my take on the Celtics. Ujan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I tend to agree with most of what you said. I'm not really looking forward to the playing round. I guess the silver lining is if you lose the playing round as a 7 seed, you still have another chance at least being the 8 seed. But then playing Philadelphia, I'm not very excited about that. Playing Brooklyn, not excited about that. Maybe like one game if you're lucky to, but that's kind of a stretch. But I'll be honest with you. It's just really gonna be. I'm just bracing for an early exit in the playoffs and looking forward to the offseason, I guess.
Yes, I tend to agree again with most of the things you guys are saying. I would like to note, though, that the Charlotte Hornets and Wizards are tied at 33 and 38, so there is a potential that they would have to face Russell Westbrook in that play-in game, and I do not like their odds against the Wizards. They are surging. If they were to play the Hornets, I do like them in a one-game scenario. And then, but ultimately, like you guys said, they don't have much of a shot against these Nets, who are now back to fully healthy with their big three. So they probably are, by my estimation, the favorite in the East. I know they're not the one, but this is a superstar-driven league, and that's the team with the most superstars. So I don't see them getting past Brooklyn. Maybe they win one game, but yeah, it's been a disappointing year, and they just seem very disinterested, particularly on the defensive end, and they have not been able to keep their focus and composure for 48 minutes too often. They have runs here and there, but you don't play, you don't win and lose on the basis of 12 to 24 minutes. You win on the basis of 48. So their record might be a lot better if it was based on 24 minutes. But they do, especially with Brown being out too. That's another thing. They just haven't been able to maintain their health. They have the most games missed due to COVID of any team in the league, and it's just been a disappointing year. And I agree with Amartya. They need to make some moves this off season because this core group of players just has not worked out for them.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's our Celtics take. And anyways, that's going to do it for this week. Obviously, we talked about a lot. It was great having you guys on. Joe, hopefully you can come back on again at some point. Thank you for coming on. Hope you had a good time. But no, this was a great, that's it for this week. Obviously, the Bruins are starting tonight. Hopefully they start off with a win in Washington, D.C. Hopefully the Red Sox continue to play well. And we won't really know about the Patriots until January or so. And hopefully the Celtics make some moves. But that's it for this week. Stay tuned next week when we are back covering the next week in sports news. So until then, have a great week, everyone, and we'll talk again later. Bye.